How's everybody doing today? And welcome to another episode of Horror and Stuff. Today we're going to be ranking all of the Alien and Predator movies from worst to best before the Prey movie comes out in September. So we got about 2 months before that movie comes out, which I am super excited for. The trailer looks fantastic for that movie. But yeah, I thought that I had seen most of these movies. Well, probably about half of these movies before. But it had been a long time for some of them, and yeah, I really had a great time with this. There is only one movie on this list that I deem just a bad movie, and anybody that has seen these films probably knows which one I'm talking about. You might think that there's more bad movies in this list, but not to me. I think that there's only one bad movie, and the rest are decent to fantastic. And yeah, so anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. So, there are 12 movies in both of these franchises combined. And Prey will make number 13. So starting off with number 12, in the worst position and the only movie that I deem a bad movie is Alien vs. Predator, Requiem. And this movie is so absolutely boring, and it even has decent actors in it, like people that I would have never have thought would be this bad. So I don't think that it's actually the actor's fault. A lot of the bad acting that happens in this movie, I personally think that it is the director's fault and the writer that gave them such garbage scripts. The worst thing about this movie is it is like they were like, let's find an abyss to film this film in with natural lighting. And it is one of the darkest movies visually. There's no lighting, and I hate this movie. It is so bad. And I don't say that about a lot of films. I actually like most films that I watch, at least a little bit. There's something about them that I can take away and be like, I liked this part of the movie. I didn't care for the whole movie, something like that. I didn't like a single thing about this film, and that's why it is at number 12. Alright, coming in at number 11. I was really surprised with this one, but it is the original Predator. And I know there's a lot of people out there that will not agree with me on this movie, but it is, when it comes to the setting, and there's really not a lot of variation. But I get it. They wanted it to be this jungle film with the predator hunting in the jungle, but it's so boring to look at. Everything's the same. It's just jungle, but it's not even like interesting parts of the jungle. It's just trees. There's nothing interesting to look at in the jungle, and there's very little dialogue in this film, and Arnold Schwarzenegger says "get to the chopper" or "the chopper" or "chopper" like 6 or 7 times in this movie. And I had seen this movie when I was younger, but I didn't remember it being that oversaturated with this line that is synonymous with this movie. For some reason, I just thought he said it the one time, and it got picked up as a meme through the ages. But no, He says it so many times, and there's very little dialogue anyway, and it just keeps repeating that same line over and over, and which is bad. It's bad screenwriting. And then there's a huge section near the end of the movie where he's running through the jungle, covered in mud, and it's just silence. There's music, but there's no dialogue for what felt like 15 or 20 minutes. It was probably only like a 5-minute span, but it's just no dialogue, nothing interesting happening except for Arnold running through the forest, or the jungle. And yeah, I liked, don't get me wrong, I love this movie for the nostalgia and what it is, but rewatching it years later, it does not hold up to me. It may to you, not to me. Alright, coming in at number 10 is Alien 3. And this movie would probably be higher on the list if it didn't fall off halfway through the film. And the beginning is actually really interesting, even though there's not really the alien doing anything near the beginning of the movie. Getting to meet these people on what is basically a prison planet, and understanding these characters and the taboos and the religion that they have created for themselves, and just seeing how the society runs is actually really interesting. I don't like that they killed off characters from Aliens to Alien 3 at the very beginning of the movie. You don't even get to see these characters, of course, but they kill them off anyway. I mean, you get to see their corpses. And it just kind of... I understand that it's her journey, and it's supposed to just be bad stuff constantly happening to her over and over through all these, even though it's a very short time frame for her, because she keeps going into cryostasis, waking up, bad stuff happens, goes back into cryostasis, wakes up, bad stuff happens. Even though it's been a short time for her, it's been a very long time in the rest of the universe. And I get that that's what their character portrayal of her is, but I didn't like that. They could have brought those characters back. Maybe they couldn't sign them on for the movie or something like that. Or I don't know how long of a period between Aliens and Alien 3 these movies were made. It probably was that person grew up and the child grew up. It could be a number of things, but I wish they would have done something a little bit different. And then halfway through the movie, once the alien is actually doing stuff, it's actually not all that interesting. It's a little bit boring, and yeah, but not bad, just a little bit. Still love the movie. I think it could have been better with just a few little tweaks, and it would have been much higher on this list if they would have done that. Alright, and at number 9 is Alien Resurrection, which is the 4th installment in the Alien franchise, and I thoroughly love this movie. I don't think that it's a fantastic film, but it is a very fun film to watch. And the characters that are in this film are so over the top and interesting, and The mercenaries are fantastic. Ripley being the clone of herself mixed with the alien queen's DNA is something that I wasn't expecting when I saw this movie. This is one that I actually didn't watch previously, or I hadn't seen previously. I just watched it for the first time during these, and yeah, this was a fun movie. It had the right amount of action. It had interesting characters, and the one thing about all of the Alien films is that they have some of the coolest set designs. And Alien 3, which I should have talked about it, but I didn't talk about it, at number 10, and Alien Resurrection are no exception to that rule. All of the Alien films have these elaborate, magnificent set designs. Nobody can take that away. If we were going by set design on this list, all of the Alien movies would automatically win. But yeah, love this movie. It was a fun time. Don't have a whole lot else to say about it. I didn't take this one. This one wasn't as serious as any of the others. It was just a fun ride. I think that it's very enjoyable and is great. Moving on. All right, coming in at number 8 is Predators. And just like Alien Resurrection, this movie has a great cast of characters that are extremely interesting, unique, and this movie, even though the characters are very serious, this movie does not take itself very seriously. And I think that they should do a spin-off of movies of just this type of thing. It'd be not a whole lot, maybe 1 or 2 extra movies that are just fun Predator movies with just really interesting, unique characters. You got the Yakuza, you got the cartel guy, you have the serial killer, the sniper. Like, these are all extremely interesting characters that should not work together, but they do, and it is fantastic. I think everybody should watch this movie. It's a great time. Anyway, okay, number 7, and this is where I'm going to start really losing some people, because I know that a lot of people are not going to agree with this. But my number 7, now don't forget, I like most of the movies on this list, and this movie is no exception. I actually really like this movie. I do not love this movie, though. But number 7 is the original Alien movie. And as far as, like I said, as far as set design goes, this film does not disappoint. It is absolutely fantastic, especially for the time that it was made. All of the practical effects in this movie are just amazing. But this is a true slow burn movie. It is, and what I love about the Alien movies too is that most of them are very much more horror oriented than the Predator movies are. Of course, the Predator movies are action movies. Alien is much more horror oriented. But yes, the original Alien movie, I don't have bad things to say about this movie, except that it is very slow, in my opinion. It is hard for me to focus and stay focused in this, watching this film. But it is still a very good film. It is beautiful to watch. And there are, even with all of the good practical effects, there are parts, like there's one part where you see the alien and he's like, ah, and it looks really weird. But yeah. All right, coming in at number 6 is Predator 2. And this movie is so ridiculous. It is, just watch the first 10 minutes of this film and you will understand how ridiculous this movie really is. This is another one that, yet again, I don't think is a good movie necessarily, but it is so ridiculous, over the top, action packed, just crazy movie, and so different from anything else on this list that it's very unique, and has the beginning. You can see the beginnings of like this is going to be like a cyberpunk type world, just this dystopia full of these gangs with, advanced tech weapons, and it's very interesting to watch and witness and see just the ridiculousness of whoever created the world for Predator 2. But like, I don't have anything bad to say about this movie because it is so ridiculous that saying anything bad just, it's supposed to be ridiculous. So yeah, if you like ridiculous, foolish things, you will love this movie. And I do. I love those things. So I love this movie, and that's why it's at my number 6. On to the next one. All right, coming in at number 5 is Alien vs. Predator, the original. And to be honest, this one and number 4 are very close for me in terms of how much I enjoy these movies. Alien vs. Predator is the childhood fantasy come to life. And even though they're in this underground temple, and Alien vs. Predator Requiem is in a town, this movie, you can see everything that happens. It's shot in the abyss, in the eternal abyss. And this is such a fun movie to watch as well. This is like, Predator movies are ridiculous, then the Alien movies are horror. And this has your really good, like, horror moments in it, but not scary horror, but just has that horror feel because people are dying in very horrific ways instead of just getting blown up or stabbed by a predator. And yeah, I mean, whenever you have a human being able to join with a predator and they respect their hunting skills and their fighting skills, even though it is ridiculous, it is fantastic, fun movie to watch. I know a lot of people hate on this film, but I absolutely love it. I loved it the day that I saw it in theaters, and I will continue to love this film. Anyway, moving on. All right, and at number 4, this is a film that I had actually not seen previously. This is the first time that I watched it, and I actually didn't know this movie even existed. But number 4 is The Predator. And the cast on this, the one thing about Predator movies is they have some of the most unique, interesting characters in them. And it's like watching they're very they're almost like anime characters. Each one is unique. Their personality is interesting. They're built interestingly because, in my opinion, predators themselves are not interesting enough monsters to hold a movie by itself. That's why the original Predator is so low, because that movie did not have very interesting human characters, and it relied heavily on the Predator and the name of Arnold Schwarzenegger. And the Predator is absolutely fantastic, and it's another wild ride, fun, interesting wild ride with monsters and action and explosions and just so fun, and completely turns into an anime at the end when you get the mecha predator outfit that you get to see in the very last 10 seconds of the movie. And I was just like, is this the Gundam Predator? This is fantastic. So anybody that's anime fans out there, I think you will love The Predator. If you love anime films, or anime in general, especially if you love stuff like monsters and action. But yes, I love this film. But The Predator and Alien vs. Predator fought for that number 4 spot for me. The reason The Predator beat it out was because it has a much more interesting cast than Alien vs. Predator does. And they're so lovable. The cast in The Predator are so lovable. I think it actually has probably the best cast as far as just entertainment value goes in all of these movies. But yeah, moving on to number 3. Alright, and at number 3 is Alien Covenant. And these movies, man, Prometheus and Alien Covenant are just beautiful movies to watch. And they're absolutely gorgeous. The ships are just really interesting and neat. The land vehicles that they use, the characters are interesting in these. They're not as interesting as the Predator movies, just because the Predator movies have ridiculous people that are extremely interesting just because they're ridiculous. But Alien Covenant and Prometheus are just very, very cool movies. They have very interesting storylines. Getting to see the oh my gosh, the creator race that created humanity, and get to learn about them, and also them creating the alien creatures as well, and then the android perfecting the alien creature in Alien Covenant is just really neat. And getting to see this android gain this sentience that they learn about from Prometheus, and they make sure that they don't make androids like that going forward. It's just a lot of really interesting concepts. The city that's in Alien Covenant, where I believe Adam is the name of the android that gains this sentience, is just fantastic to see. And getting to see this alien world, and I don't know, I know that a lot of people are not going to place these movies as high as I have, but yes, Alien Covenant at number 3. I don't really have anything bad to say about this movie. I really don't. Okay, and this is where I'm going to lose a lot more people, because number 2 is Aliens. Yes, I said it. I'm sorry. I have a problem. And that problem is that it is very difficult, extremely difficult, for older technology when it comes to audio and film to beat out modern technology when it comes to audio and film, when the stories themselves, because in Aliens, this really isn't like just some crazy interesting story. This is a pretty basic story, but it is done very well. And the characters in this movie are... This is one of the Alien movies that has a very interesting cast of characters. And this movie is not boring. It is a slower burn, yes, but man, it is good. It is fantastic. It is at number 2, but I know that 90% of you, if not more, put this movie at number 1. But yes, this movie is almost perfect. This is a 9 out of 10 movie, all day. I know it's a 10 out of 10 for a lot of people, but I personally think that, this is actually a pretty basic story with not a lot to it. Yeah. But it's done fantastically. All right. And at number 1, and this is a movie that a lot of people don't like, and that's okay. But number 1 is Prometheus. And I just remember seeing this movie in theaters for the first time and just being so in love with the world that they created, and thinking it was absolutely gorgeous to see. There are only 2 small gripes I have for this film, and it actually has to do with how they wrote 2 characters, because you have a cartographer and a biologist in a cave, and the cartographer can't find his way out, which makes no sense. And the biologist, as soon as they see some crazy weird alien life form, touches the damn thing like, oh, it's fine, like without any thought. And I was just like, why would you? So you brought along the dumbest cartographer or biologist you could find, huh? And that's really that's the only gripe I have with this film, is just how they wrote those 2 characters at that point in time. But yeah, this movie is so good, and you really need Prometheus and Alien Covenant together to really create the story. But even if this was just a standalone film, it is fantastic to witness. The first creations of what would soon be the alien species, and it's a bioweapon that is you find out it's a bioweapon used by the alien race that created humanity in order to destroy planets, and they're going to destroy Earth. And or they were going to go destroy Earth until they accidentally killed themselves. And I just find this story to be just so interesting, and just a beautiful movie to witness. There are other movies that are a lot more fun to watch on this list. In fact, pretty much anything with the name Predator in it is a much more fun movie to watch, except for the first one. And Requiem. Those two movies are not all that fun for me to watch. But any of the other ones with Predator in the name, those movies are far more fun to watch than any of the Alien films. But in my opinion, the best movie with the story, the characters, the setting, the environments, all of that is Prometheus. And hate me if you want to, love me if you want to. If you would, leave a like, leave a comment, and let's discuss. But that is the list. That is my rankings. Y'all have a nice day.